Welcome to Think in English. Today, we're going to slow down for a few minutes and talk about something that many people feel but don't always say out loud. Sometimes nothing is actually wrong with your life, but it still feels like you're somehow falling behind. Maybe later, when things get quiet, you find yourself comparing your life to others, wondering if you're doing enough or moving fast enough. And that feeling doesn't come loudly. It's quiet, but it stays. But maybe your life is not behind. Maybe you've just been looking at it the wrong way. So take a deep breath, slow down for a moment, and let's begin. I think one of the strangest feelings is when nothing is actually wrong with your life, but it still feels like you're somehow behind. Like you wake up, you go through your day, you do everything you're supposed to do. Everything looks normal from the outside. And then at some quiet moment, maybe when you're scrolling through your phone or just sitting alone, this thought suddenly appears. Am I doing enough? And it doesn't come loudly. It's soft, but it stays. And somehow it makes everything feel heavier than it was just a moment ago.
Yeah, and what's scary is that feeling doesn't really come from your life itself. It comes from seeing other people's lives. You see someone achieve something, build something, move forward, and suddenly your normal day feels small. Not because it actually is, but because you've just compared it to a moment that was never meant to represent your reality. And the more you do that, the more your life starts to feel like it's not enough, even when it is.
Exactly. And I think that's what people don't realize. We're not just living anymore. We're constantly measuring. Every small step, every decision. It's like we're quietly asking, is this good enough compared to everyone else? And when you live like that, even real progress starts to feel invisible, because no matter how much you grow, there's always someone who looks like they're doing more.
And the problem is, we're comparing two completely different things. We're comparing our everyday life to someone else's highlight moment. We see the result, but not the years behind it. We see the success, but not the confusion, the failure, the days when nothing worked. And when you put their best moment next to your unfinished reality, of course, it feels like you're behind.
And if you stay in that mindset long enough, something dangerous happens. You don't just feel behind anymore, you start believing that you actually are. You stop noticing what you've done, and you start focusing only on what you haven't done yet. You stop appreciating your own pace, and you start feeling like it's wrong.
Yeah, and that's when it gets dangerous. Because it's no longer just a comparison, it becomes a belief. You start believing that your life is actually behind, even when it isn't. And once you believe that, everything you do starts to feel like it's not enough, no matter how hard you try.
But the truth is, life doesn't really work like a race. There's no single timeline that everyone is supposed to follow. Some people figure things out early, some people take longer, and some people completely change direction halfway through. And none of that means one life is better than another. It just means they're different.
Yeah, and we forget that difference is actually the point. Everyone is building something in their own way, even if it doesn't look impressive yet. And just because something doesn't look big right now, it doesn't mean it isn't becoming something important.
And honestly, some of the most important parts of life don't even look like progress. They look slow, they look repetitive, they look like days where nothing special happens, but you still keep going. And those are the days that actually build something real. The problem is, those days are invisible, so we don't value them.
Yeah, we're trained to notice big results, big moments, big changes. But real life isn't made of big moments. It's made of small days, the kind that don't look important while you're living them. And if you keep comparing those small, quiet days to someone else's peak moments, you'll always feel like you're not doing enough, even when you are. And that's the part that hurts the most.
I think the shift starts when you stop asking, am I better than them? And start asking something much quieter. Am I better than I was before? Because that question brings you back to your own life. It makes you notice your own movement. And even if that movement is small, it's still real.
And more importantly, it's something you can control. You can't control someone else's timeline, their opportunities, or their path. But your direction, your effort, your consistency, those are yours. And even if your progress feels slow,
it's still yours. And something that truly belongs to you will always matter more than something you're just trying to keep up with.
And maybe that's where we've been misunderstanding life. We think it's supposed to look a certain way at a certain time, and when it doesn't, we feel like we're off track. But maybe there is no fixed track. Maybe life is just something that makes sense while you're walking it, not while you're comparing it.
It's true. And when you really start to see it that way, something changes. You stop chasing other people's timing and you start trusting your own. Not perfectly, not all the time, but enough to keep going without constantly feeling like you're behind.
And maybe the goal isn't to completely stop comparing. That's probably impossible. But maybe the goal is softer than that. Maybe it's about not letting those comparisons decide how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, because when that happens, even just a little bit, something feels lighter. You're still aware of other people, but you're no longer measuring your life against them all the time.
And maybe, in the end, that's what really matters. Not having the fastest progress or the most impressive life, but having a life that actually feels right when you're living it.
Yeah, because one day you might look back and realize you were never actually behind. You were just building something in a way that no one else could see yet. And maybe the problem was never your pace. Maybe it was the way you were looking at it.
Thank you for listening to Think in English. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. See you in the next video.